So let's start with the definition of gamification, Roman. And I ask this to every expert who comes to our webinar because each one gives a different answer.
Yeah.
So I would like you to define gamification, and then we'll start from there and build upon it.
Okay. So I make it short. So for me, the definition of gamification is you're designing activities with the aim that people keep doing something with joy. Okay, that's pretty simple. For me, it's not that I want to get people to do something in the first place, or only once, because there are much easier ways to do that, like nudging or whatever, or rewarding, for example, classic bonies, whatever, points, badges. So for me, really, it's about, I want to create something where people say, okay, even if you wouldn't ask me, I wouldn't mind to come back and keep doing what you gamified.
Right.
Okay. And of course, and that's the point. There are different ways to do that. Okay. So behavior psychology, I think from my point of view, gamification is a niche within behavior psychology. And so it's much bigger. But when you're talking about gamification, there, of course, you take the role model of evolutionary biology, evolutionary psychology, and you find out what are the mechanics, the situations, the principles in situations like game, sports, and hobbies. You're doing the research, and then you're trying to convert that kind of stuff into these activities that you want to design. I think this is an important part especially for me, and I think this is also easy to help for others to distinguish gamification with other approaches to get people to do something. From my point of view, gamification is less result-driven and more activity-driven. Okay, so what I mean by that is that if something is really result-driven, let's say nudging, for example, probably most people who are familiar with gamification or behavior psychology, they have heard about nudging. Yeah.
Right.
So nudging wants you to do something particular. Okay, like I want you to eat an apple instead of candy, or I want you to slow down with the car. So the point is, if they achieve that, they don't care if you enjoy doing that. Yeah.
Right.
So and this is also something that it's important for us as a gamification designer. It means that if we are solving a problem from a company, for example, they say, for example, we want to decrease fluctuation, or we want to increase the acceptance of our e-learning programs, or whatever it is.
Right.
If we are able to do so, but the people still say, oh, if I wouldn't have to do it, I would still avoid it, then we have failed. So even if we improve the KPI, I think as a gamification designer, you have failed.
Wow. Okay. So this is why I ask definitions, because something always comes out unexpected. So what you're saying is, hey, don't only think about KPI, think about whether people are enjoying doing that thing.
Sure. I mean, first of all, this is why it's called gamification, because we take games or the game industry as a role model. They didn't invent it, but they are very successful in doing that. So we take them as a role model. And the goal of a game designer is also not that you're finishing the end boss, but you don't enjoy the game. You will never reach it. So that's not the case. And that's the other point. I think we can all agree that it's difficult to create something for people that they are enjoying over a longer period of time. So
right.
It's not, if it would only be about the KPI, why would I try to achieve also this extra constraint that they even have to enjoy it? Okay. So then, for example, I could go to nudging. It's much easier. It's much faster. It's less expensive. That would be much better just to improve the KPI.